I'm really excited to be here back at Slush again. I have a lot of love for Finland, and so thank you for having me back. Do you know, when it comes to virtual reality, my first experience of it was when I was about 8 years old at the Australian Sydney Royal Easter Show. Now, I know there's one Australian in the audience who'll know what I'm talking about, but basically it's like when all the farmers come to town to show their wares, but they have to have a fun fair element to keep the kids entertained. Now, my favourite show, my favourite ride at the Sydney Easter Show was one that was about virtual reality. Now, remember, this is probably in the mid-'80s, so it wasn't technically that amazing, but I thought it was cool. You basically paid your 50 cents and you went into this giant room. It was a tent, really. And it had a huge screen that went all around. You put on these really flimsy paper blue and red glasses. Does anyone else remember those? And then the film began. Wow, it was all around you. One of the clips was of a woman walking up a flight of stairs, carrying a big bag of groceries. Suddenly, her bag breaks, and oranges come flying down the stairs at me. And I viscerally remember ducking and weaving so that I wouldn't be hit by these flying oranges. And this is the power of virtual reality. It's not just a mental memory, it's actually physical. Virtual reality can elicit really intense emotional reactions and authentic reactions. VR puts you in the middle of the story. You are the character. You can see all around you. It's a whole of body experience. It can be used for conveying empathy, it can be used to educate, and of course it can be used for entertainment. And I'll touch on each of these points shortly. But to start with, what is virtual reality? Well, virtual reality is really hard to explain. As Chris Milk noted, it's like dancing to architecture. If you try and get your brain around that, it's a bit hard. And VR is hard to explain because it's really an experiential medium. You feel your way inside it. You know, you feel present in it. It feels like the truth. And it gives you a sense of duality of presence. If you try it over there in a moment after my talk, hopefully, you'll feel that you know you're at Slush, but your brain is telling you that you're somewhere completely different. And the great thing about VR is that it doesn't matter where you're from, what language you speak in some cases, your background, your age, it's accessible to everyone at the scale of Android. So, Google's mission is to organise the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. But I like to think it could be with VR to organise the world's experiences and make them universally accessible and useful. And I'm glad to tell you, you don't need to go all the way to Australia to the Sydney Royal Easter Show to experience VR because it's here, just a few metres in that booth over there for you to try. Now, Google's first step into virtual reality was cardboard. Who here has tried cardboard? Hands up. Okay, I can see a lot of Googlers have, that's good. But it's good to see some non-Googlers have as well. So cardboard was fantastic because it was our first step into a VR experience that everyone can try. It's great for really immersive 360 video. And it's been a huge success. So we've shipped about, I think it's over 5 million viewers globally, and there have been over 25 million apps downloaded from the Play Store to date. So that's fantastic. Now, who here has actually built something for cardboard? Who's built an app or a video experience? Excellent, sir. Anyone else that I missed? Built for cardboard? Okay. So I'm going to pick on you. So I'm sure it was great fun building for cardboard. Good. And have you had success? Have you had lots of downloads? Excellent. So I'm sure, sir, that you're well aware of the limitations of cardboard. It's a fantastic medium, but Just imagine, right? Let's pretend this is my cardboard. Just imagine if I didn't have to hold it up to my face. Just imagine if I didn't have to take my phone out of the cardboard to change the experience. Just imagine if I could sit back and have a really amazing, immersive experience for like 2 hours straight. So, introducing Daydream. Google's first foray into consumer-grade hardware and premium VR. Daydream offers immense opportunities for you to create really brand new user experiences for three main reasons. The first one is interactivity, the second is comfort, and the third is that the phone has a much higher processing power, which means you can spend longer in it. Now, who here has tried the Daydream viewer so far? The Australian, the Finn? Yep, excellent. What you'll realise when you try it on is that because it's got a head strap, you don't need to use your hands. So your hands are free, which means you can hold the controller. And because you've got a controller in your hand, if you're an app builder or you're a content, if you make content, this is what is the key differentiator. It opens up huge possibilities for you to create new interactive experiences. Some of my favourites, in some of the games, the controller is a whisk, it could be a cricket bat, or it could just be a stick that you throw your virtual dog. And now, how many people here are in the hardware business? Okay, good, because I don't want to annoy you, because the hardware is really cool, but I'm in the software business, so I think it's actually the software that brings everything to life. And this is no different. So whether you're telling a story, whether you're educating someone, or whether you're creating some entertainment, VR has the power to really draw on empathy and to connect humans together in a really profound way. Because when you think about it, you can step into the shoes of someone else and experience what it's like from their perspective. I tend to think in an altruistic way that VR has the power to change the world. And I'm not alone in thinking this. So many news organisations see massive potential for this long-form immersive experience. And for example, with CNN, they put you, the embedded foreign correspondent, straight into the front line. So they've made a great app for Daydream, as has USA Today, Wall Street Journal, and my personal favourite, Underworld. Now, I worked on this with The Guardian in London, fantastic partner, and I'll just give you a quick snapshot of what it looks like. Thanks, Yas. Oh.
Did you hear that? Shh. Over there in the alcove, there's a rat. Welcome to the Underworld. Nothing's off limits. You're in London's Victorian sewer system. Doing this on your own would be very dangerous.
The underground is where the dead live.
You need to pay attention to landmarks, platforms, alcoves.
Hell is located underground.
If your torch goes out, you could get lost down here and never find your way out. Left or right? I've only been down one side before. There's a city within the city that we can find if we're willing to go out and explore it. Your batteries are going. There's an exit near here, a ladder up to the street. You need to find it. It's time to go.
Okay, who here had goosebumps? Wait till you try it on the Daydream headset. It is really incredible. It's so impactful. Now, The Guardian has very high journalistic morals, and because they knew that VR would be impactful, they went about to build a story that had lots of integrity and really focused on their values and goals. So for Underworld, they had done all this research prior. So as you can see here, They had interviewed urban explorers, so these guys who go and break into sewers and things like that. That's fun. And then they had interviews, talking about the lives of people who work in the sewers. So the gentleman there on the far right-hand side, he was a journalist, and he was interviewing people who work there, who have to do things like remove fatbergs. I'm not going to tell you what a fatberg is now because it's disgusting, but you can check it out later on. There are also some issues around whether the sewers are really needed these days. So it's quite a topical, topical feature piece which they built on. Now, in building for Daydream, The Guardian learned 3 key things, which they kindly shared with me so I could tell you today. The first one is that Daydream in VR is really good for, deep exploratory feature pieces, because where you need to kind of convey a lot of detail, a lot of complexity and sense of experience, it works really well. The second is quite interesting. So if there are any journalists or news or media organisations here, I see one there, the story is the utmost important point. When we were building this with The Guardian, interactivity is what's so cool about Daydream. But you have to manage the balance between giving the user a sense of agency, but also keeping them on that story journey. Because if you can have a story, you need a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you don't have an end, the user will feel unsatisfied and confused. So we did a lot of work where Guardian had built all these fantastic rooms, within the sewer that you could potentially go to, but in the end, the story has to come first, so bear that in mind. The third one is audio. Now, if you're building a piece for television or maybe the web that's video, audio is, you know it's coming to you. But in virtual reality, the audio is all around you. And just imagine being in that tunnel. It's wet. You can hear the faint drum of traffic. You can hear the water rushing below you. You really need to capture that idea of 360 echo audio. And that was quite a challenge. But I think they mastered it excellently. Now, a couple of other things that they found really useful with the interactivity of the wand, going back to that idea of keeping the user on the story, was the use of audio and the torch. Now, you might have known who picked up the rat in that clip. Cool. So the rat is a visual cue to keep you moving forward in the story. Likewise, because your torch has a battery problem, you're really motivated to get through that tunnel quickly, because I don't know about you, but I would not want to be down there in the dark with no light. So these are some of the tips and tricks that they've used. So some have said that VR is the ultimate empathy machine, and I definitely encourage you to try it out this afternoon or tomorrow to see how it changes your frame of reference. Okay. So I've touched on how VR can be used to elicit empathy, but it can also be used to educate. Who here remembers a holiday they took in the early 90s? Excellent, good. Humans are really good at spatial learning, and that's why we can remember the holiday we took in the early 90s compared to what we learnt at school. Now, this is where VR comes in. Even Aristotle said, for the things we need to learn, we learn by doing them. And more recently, John Dewey, a scientist, stated, if you want the students to do something to do, give the students something to do, not something to learn. Clearly, I didn't study him very much. And basically, VR is great here because VR removes distraction. Once you've got this headset on your face, you don't feel or see anything else. You are completely locked in the experience. VR can take students anywhere in time and space. It engages their spatial memory, which is great for absorbing and retaining knowledge. VR can be your science lab, your programmable robot, and it can even be your private tour guide for a fraction of the cost.
Inspiration is spread around the globe, across space and time, in the places we love and with the people of our past. Art has changed the way we see the world and the way we see each other. We started with simple tools for food and fire, and then carved statues of myths and heroes. And we built monuments to last forever. There is so much to see, learn, and experience. With the Google Arts and Culture app, you can immerse yourself in 360-degree views.
Okay, so that was the Arts and Culture app, and that's a really fantastic and immersive way to explore places and artifacts which you might not be able to see or get to in your own world. Oops, I've gone back one. So another one which is great. So we know that VR can take you into space and time, and one of my favorite is the Star Chart app. Let's take a look at that one.
It actually involves more compute than the entire universe of CPUs.
Back
Every
one.
CPU on the planet is a candle to the dedicated ASICs of Bitcoin.
Oh, we're going the wrong direction. We're going forwards in space, not backwards.
On the
Here we go.
deep learning side, there's some examples here. Nirvana, which just got acquired by Intel, is a company also I'm part of. Our newest investment is in Las Vegas Supply, which is doing the analog version of deep learning evolution of the brain.
So if you're into astronomy and perhaps you're short-sighted like me, or you don't have your own telescope, or you're just curious, this is a fantastic application to actually explore the universe in 3D. I can't do enough justice with a video, so you have to go over there and try it. Now, I had the misfortune of studying manufacturing as a degree, and I had to learn CAD-CAM, and I struggled so hard because I could never get that Z-axis. Well, I wish I'd had the Mekarama app then, because even though this is a game, I think this has huge educational purposes and usefulness. Basically, you're in charge of a robot, and you need to move him around in a 3D space, across bricks, move the bricks, and get him to the top of what I'm calling a windmill. Let's have a look.
In the last paragraph, or last page of the book, he talks about the future of engineering, software engineering, and this was many years ago they wrote this. I think it's prophetic.
So that thing is like a sucker thing that sticks to the wall and moves you around.
More than we can understand, will we transcend human limitations in a sense to birth technologies that birth the technologies, to build learning machines that learn better than before. For example, in training AlphaGo, when you train it with a human playing Go, they pretty quickly could do better by having.
So you can see you can move all around it in 3D. It's really cool. Thank you very much. Okay, so I've touched on how VR can be useful to elicit empathy and the truth, and how it can educate. And you can see that, Daydream makes it really fun to learn. So if it can make learning fun, what can it do for entertainment? Well, this is going to blow your mind, honestly. With the ability to interact with the world, the possibilities are endless. And just remember, the headset is so comfortable that after a few minutes you forget that there's a phone and a headset attached to your face. And because of this, Daydream is perfect for long-form, interactive entertainment experiences. One game that demonstrates the use of the controller extremely well is the Glade application. So you remember I talked earlier in the piece about going to the fun fair? Well, now you can avoid the long flight, the rain, and the screaming children, and you can play the fun fair from the comfort of your Daydream headset. Let's have a look.
That's going to keep going, but new entrants, small economies, teams are increasingly going to define the future.
Welcome to the amazing, the incredible, the magnificent Wonder Glade! Come along! Wonder Glade is a place of wonder and great fun!
Okay, so you get the gist. I encourage you to try it out because it is really good fun. We can always turn the volume down a bit. Now, there's a huge selection of entertainment apps and fun games on the Google Daydream platform today. They're really good, and I can't wait to see what else comes about. Now, a couple which my team have really enjoyed of late in terms of the games is Hunter's Gate and Fantastic Beasts. In Hunter's Gate, it's basically your classic arcade shoot-'em-up game reimagined for virtual reality. Now, who here likes shoot-'em-up games? Okay, great. Yeah, I see a lot of people around here. So basically, in this, you can either choose to be one of two characters, both with their own serious psychological problems. One is called Pain and the other is called Forge. Your job is to protect Hunter's Gate from an invasion of demon monsters. Now, once you've defended Hunter's Gate, you can then take your army and invade the demon world. And as you do this, you can upskill and upgrade your weaponry, your spells, and your hunter skills to, defeat the demon Overlord. Let's take a look. Cool, so that gives you just a taste of that one. Now, are there any Harry Potter fans out here? Excellent, same guy. Well, good taste in content. So I really love Harry Potter, and one of the things which I've always wanted to do is to cast a spell with a wand, but unfortunately, due to the laws of physics, I've not been able to do this to date. However, now we have the fantastic Beast Daydream app, which lets you walk down into the suitcase of Newt Scamander and interact with the beasts. You can cast spells, and you're surrounded by magic. And I have to say, this is one of the most beautiful interactive Daydream experiences that I've seen to date. Let's take a look. Great, so hopefully this has shown you that with Daydream, it can bring huge potential for creating immersive, interactive experiences that can elicit empathy, help educate people, and can entertain like never before. But people say to me, well, that's great, but what's the future of VR? Well, we're only at the beginning with Daydream, and I'm really excited to know what the future will be as well, but it's a bit early to say. But what I want to do is I want to communicate with you. I want to see you unleash your creativity to really make the most of this platform, because the opportunities for immersive, interactive content is really boundless. And I'm really excited to say that this is a growing platform, and we have a whole bunch of Android OEMs who are producing Daydream-ready devices for 2017. So in summary, Daydream is a technology, but that technology can really VR is a technology, but through that technology, we can create more compassionate, connected, and ultimately more human world. We're excited to work with partners like The Guardian and New York Times, and as they bring, really immersive journalistic experiences to Daydream. We're also excited about the endless possibilities with education, with apps like Star Chart. Just imagine these kids of the future. They won't have to sit down and study on paper. They'll be able to experience and learn in a more immersive way. And finally, I'd encourage you to try out some of the fantastic entertainment and games apps that we have on Daydream. We do have quite a few headsets over there, so there's no excuses. And I can't wait to see your face when you try Hunter's Gate or Fantastic Beasts. It will really blow your mind away. In closing, Daydream offers immense opportunities for you to create new, brilliant experiences at the scale of Android. And if you're ready to build for Daydream, this is the link that you can go to check out more. And if you've got questions about building for Daydream or any other VR-related questions, we'll be right over there ready to answer them. Thank you very much.